Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. A little advice for the asheerim, the rich people, and the well-to-do people. Listen, I know a lot of them that you know they give money and they basically support these, uh, you know, these tzaddikim, these holy people that they buy them a house. They give them support for their family. If they're a reb or a rav or a shashiv, whatever it is, they support their maistas and their chasidus, whatever it may be. But they 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 themselves know that they don't respect them as an adult. They just fake it because they see that it's good for their kids. Because these are people, they say a bracha with kavana, they daven with, with ehrlichkeit, and they are holy people, you understand? But they're not muvushal, they're not cooked. And they realize this, that these people haven't entered the adulthood, or, people call it the manosphere, whatever. They haven't entered into the reality of this world. They might have very clear how things work in the next world and how Gehenna works, but they don't understand this world. And because of that, uh, they make many mistakes in their judgment because they ignore how this world works, which the Gemara itself says, Alma de Shikra, meaning things in this world very often, and I would say today, you know, all around us, everything happens the opposite than the way things work in Gan Eden or even in Gehenna. You understand? In heaven or hell. You understand? But these rich people, they support them, they give them the money, and they say, you know what? I'll pretend to respect them. You know why? And I'll give them the money. Why? Because I see that they daven nicely, they give a good share, this and that, you understand? They're good for my kids. So I'll pretend my entire life, you understand, that only to a select few will I reveal the truth. If they ever say it, they're afraid to say it. They have to know that we need this because they're not complete, they cause damage. They don't understand how the real world works. And because of that, since you give them everything for free, what happens is they they they're getting everything for free, so they think that this method is attainable, sustainable, and they say everybody should do it. And that's what's happening today. And they see it's happening to in the beginning. They saw it happening to all these holy people that are not seasoned. You understand? And they don't have a good understanding of this world. Maybe the next world they do. Maybe Gehenna they do understand very well, but this world they don't have a good understanding. And the issue is that we live in this world. It's not an issue. The fact is we live in this world, and the kids live in this world, and being guided by someone who's stupid when it comes to this world is going to hurt them for sure in crucial aspects in life. There could be many others as well, but for sure in crucial aspects because they don't have a good grasp on reality. So you have to know supporting them and making believe you respect them, this is wrong. This is wrong. Rather, rather they should be doing this. Two options. I lean more towards the second option, but let's go through the first option. The first option is that They work a half a day, and then either that's the first half or the second half. There's regular jobs are from 9 to 5, 9 to 7, whatever it is. You understand? Say they work a half a day, either the first half or the second half. I always say do things the first half, because once you're up, then you'll actually learn the second half. You understand? But if you learn the second half, then you wake up an hour late, then you just lost an hour of learning. So better to work the first half and then to learn the second half. And of course, if you're a real tzaddik, you learn it even more. You understand? So, so they help tzaddikim that work a half a day to be able to make up the money for the work of the second half of the day. So in this way, the tzaddikim, they have experience of the world, and it's a continuous experience. And but at the same time, to learn, there's a lot, and you need time. You understand? You need time. So in this way, you get the best of both worlds. You understand? And this is actually what the Satmar Rebbe said. He says, Koilel, he argued with Rav Aaron, and he said, Koilel means learning half a day and working half a day. There is no scenario that you learn the whole day. Now, if you make enough money and now you could retire, that's different. But there is no scenario that you learn the whole day. Now, I'll tell you the truth, even if someone does make enough money, it's important to be in the working world. Why? You stay up with the times. You're with it. You get in the working world. You learn and how to understand this world. And things change. 10 years later, things could change. You understand? Working keeps you up to speed. So it's important to work. Maybe as you retire, you don't have to work every day, but maybe twice a week. Things like that. You understand? So that's that. So that's one method. The second method is that you you help the tzaddik be able to maximize the uh, the half a day that he works. You help him. You teach him how to make enough money in a half a day that he could be self-sufficient completely. And this is, of course, what I promote. You understand? Listen, if a person can't make money, you understand? This isn't the times of Hillel Hazakin. You understand that he just collected wood. You understand? Today, you understand, and if he can't, if he can't make, if he can't succeed in a half a day working to, if he can't be taught how from a half a day to be self sufficient, he's not tzaddik material. You understand what I'm saying? He's not tzaddik material. That's not the type of person I want leading the nation. That's not the type of person that I want guiding my son or daughters, him or his rebbitzin. You understand? He, you want someone that's a full man, and that's someone that's able to self-support. So if you want to learn a half a day, which of course is more, because if you really love Torah, you're going to learn more than that. But if you want to learn, if you're going to be working, if you're going to say from a whole day working, I'm going to go to a half a day working, and you can't support yourself, listen, we 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 we, we respect tremendously that you're learning. You understand, but to give you the reins of Klal Yisrael, that's not a smart thing. And today, that's unfortunately, people give the reins away so easily to stupid people, right? Just look at, you understand? Look no further than the American Senate and Congress and even President. They give it away to the most stupidest people in the world. It's not even like Joe Biden, right? It's not even that they gave it to, like, a hater, but like a smart person. They gave it to someone who literally his brain stopped working. You understand? he got so sick that his faculties weren't there, and they were saying no, they are there. You understand? So and they try to elect him again. Don't forget, President Trump wasn't going against Kamala in the beginning; he was going against Biden. Everybody was like, all the lefties and all these Democrats are all like, "Yeah, that's going to happen." Republican Democrats were like, "No, what are you talking about? This guy, you need to give him a comfortable place to live. He has to retire. He's not with it anymore. Unfortunately. So, unfortunately, Judaism. When you start to understand the what's happening in politics, you see the same thing is happening in the Jewish politics, just not at that extreme. You understand? It's happening, but at 1% of what's happening there. But that 1% in the Jewish world, when there's so much happening there, becomes like 100%, because Judaism is not shallow at all. It's very, very deep. So when you have a small percent of issues, especially when those issues are the pillars of life, working, getting married, you understand, raising children, the idea of balance, the idea that that in life you're usually never going to get what you want. You're going to have to compromise. All these things, are being ruined, and people are growing up with unrealistic understanding of how this world works. Remember, these so-called rabbanim, they have a very good understanding how the next world works, how heaven works, how hell works. They talk about it all the time. But there's one thing that they're missing, and that's this world. So how could you be guiding the people, the young boys and girls? How could you be guiding the generation? Even older folks, they're stupid also, and they're following them. How could you be guiding them if you don't understand this world? Now, it's true, just understanding this world is also not enough. You have to understand that there's heaven, there's hell, and that there how things work there. You have to have a basic understanding. But someone who at least understands this world could give someone, let's say they didn't understand heaven and hell, but they understand this world, they could have given better advice. Don't walk out at night. This isn't heaven. You'll be attacked. You understand? So, don't be nice and say, yeah, well, if the person's pressing that they want to go out, okay, but just don't go there. No, don't go out at night. It's dangerous. You understand? Someone who understands this world, that's the way they speak. Someone understanding this world is, when you have a choice between someone that only understands the next world and someone that understands this world, the person that understands this world will better advise you in most areas in life, especially the crucial aspects, the pillars of life. Now, at the same time, we understand that will be very coarse. It won't be It won't have the Jewish ideology connected to it. So therefore, a person has to have also a level of understanding that there's heaven, there's hell, the next world, how everything, it's truth completely over there. You understand? A few concepts. It's not rocket science. You understand? And then when they give you, and since they have a good understanding of this world, then they can give you way better advice than someone who doesn't understand this world. And in many cases, you'll be surprised, they refuse to understand this world. They look at it as a negative. You understand? Like, what are you going to do with a person? This is what's happening. They think it's a negative to understand this world. It's almost like we're in Schwarzville, you understand? Like there, they look down upon someone that that passes the regions, that the people, the good ones of them, they have to do it in secret. You understand? Because they're going to be embarrassed by their peers. I mean, that's what's happening by us. It's shocking. I'm always surprised at the stupidity that's happening, and how even the older folk allow it to happen and don't just say, listen, just leave the shul. If you're, if change the Rav, depending on what the scenario is. I'm surprised they don't do that and find someone that's balanced, that's normal. And all of these psychopaths that have no understanding of this world, really stupid people are just controlling Yiddishkeit and turning away the youth because they're being treated so bad, so bad. And even a lot of the older folk are being treated so bad because once they get divorced, it could take forever, literally until you die, to even get remarried. You understand? Take forever to succeed financially. It's they make you think that if you work, you go off the derech. The way you treat them, then that's what happens. You understand? It's just it's mavel harai. It's mahavil harai. It's astonishing the craziness, the idiocy, the stupidity that's happening. While there is so much potential from from unlimited good. Hashem put us in one of the best situations. You have a bathroom that you could go to. You don't have to go to the field. There's many places in the world you have to go to the field to where everybody makes to go do your thing. You have a bathroom. You could clean yourself. You could get right back to learning. You understand? There's so much more time to learn. There's so and you could be successful financially as well as in working. You have all the vitamins. You could take these. You could take a multivitamin and keep yourself healthy. You understand? There's so much stuff. You have doctors. You have so much stuff, and we somehow always have to take what Hashem gave us and and turn it into a method. Since there's so much shefa, now you're gonna stop people from working so that they shall learn all day. Somehow you have to take the shefa that Hashem's giving you and and make it into a Frankenstein that now the good that Hashem's giving you is hurting you. That's what they do to us. They took the bracha, the blessing of God, and they turn it into a Frankenstein that now what God gives us, whatever He gives us, it always comes out in a bad way because they ignore balance. They turned it into a Frankenstein. This is the unfortunate truth, and someone has to say it. Someone has to say it. Balance. Balance. It's a forgotten art. People don't even know what that means. People can't even. Who's gonna? If I talk about it, who's even gonna listen? You have to know. You have to start. You have to go away from these radical, stupid people. And sometimes you could have. I see. Let's a lot of times. A Litvish guy, if he talks the way I'm talking, he means it. Otherwise, he wouldn't say it. But by a chacham, and by a rebbe, many times they'll say, they'll talk about work in a good way, unlike how the Litvish, work is always bad. But you see that they don't, uh, in their actions, they do the opposite. You understand? They're not balanced. Their kids aren't balanced. Everybody that they marry isn't balanced. Uh, you'll see that in their actions, they just say it because they feel they have to. You understand? Either people will leave or they want to get money from them, but they don't have a yeshiva teaching them balance. The yeshiva teaches what the Litvish yeshiva teaches, this radicalism. You understand? So, yeah, you have to be smart. Don't be an imbecile. It's not just what people say, but it's also how they act. It has to in line, and the only a yeshiva should only be balanced, only be balanced. If you find a needle in the haystack, that he's, let's say, Rabbi Akiva or something like that, he's unique, then then you take time aside to work with him, for him to realize his potential. You understand? But a yeshiva has to be balanced. None of this radicalism. 18, you start working, and you have a healthy community that you learn a little before you go to work. You learn a lot when you come back from work. Sometimes you learn a little after you come back, and then you spend some time with the family, and then you spend, another 2 hours of learning afterwards. You understand this, and you have to help people that they don't have to get jobs, that they have to travel, hours to get there, and therefore they have to wake up at, they have to wake up so early, and therefore they have to go to sleep early, and there's no time learning. You have to have a little emunah, a little faith in God, and look for jobs near you. A job shouldn't be more than 30 minutes away. You need time to learn. You don't have time. You don't have an hour that you have to travel an hour just to get to your job. You don't have that time. You need to be learning. There's a lot to learn. You understand? And what happens is if you don't have emunah, faith in God, and your jobs are too far away, then what happens is you have your family comes first, so you have to spend time with your family, but then there's no time for learning. You understand? So you got to uh, you cannot be complacent and just say, "Oh, I got a job, that's it." Oh, it takes 2 hours to drive there. Okay, that's what it takes. Hashem wants you to do better, and don't quit that job until you find a different job. But you need to be looking for a different job that's max 30 minutes away. That's the max. You understand? Bidyev at 45, an hour away. What type of craziness is this? You understand? If there's a from community nearby, then go live in that from community. If for whatever reason that would be very bad, whether taxes wise, whatever it may be, then you need to find a job near you. That's a part of emunah. That's part of faith, that Hashem will help you when you try to find a job, and not in a lackadaisical way, but you really put in effort to try to find a job. That's called emunah, that you'll have faith that Hashem will help you get a job. That's within 30 minutes away, so you'll have more time to learn. That's called emunah. You understand? Uh, that's emunah. That's emunah. And that's called really thinking about Hashem, really thinking about Judaism, the Torah, really appreciating it. That's truth. You understand? That's truth. Hopefully, with us realizing this and going in this truth, and teaching our children to go in this truth, we should bring the Gulish Lamb from here. I love you, and Hashem loves you more.